The Superb has long been the standard bearer for Skoda's model lineup, but it gains a fresh lease of life in this more sophisticated third-generation guise. This version's still as class-leadingly spacious as its predecessors, but now manages to match that practicality with smart contemporary styling for both hatch and estate body styles. It's more sophisticated under the skin too, with lighter, stiffer underpinnings that have improved driving dynamics and efficiency, while also allowing for the fitment of extra high-tech driving aids. The result is a very complete package that should prove likeable to live with. As Skoda points out, you'll probably end up spending 3 years of your life in a car. Important then to choose the right one. If customer satisfaction surveys are to be believed, few Superb buyers ever doubt that they've done just that.
On the move, as ever in a Superb, the ride and refinement are exemplary. What's changed here, though, is the car's dynamic demeanour. Thanks to the adoption of the Volkswagen Group's lighter, stiffer MQB chassis, the car feels far more agile through bends that you'll be able to attack with a touch more gusto, thanks to sharper steering and a standard XDS Plus electronic differential lock that reduces understeer and improves stability as you turn. Under the bonnet, most customers will want a TDI diesel, possibly the entry-level 1.6-litre 120 PS unit, but more likely one of the 2-litre TDI power plants. I'm trying the 150 PS unit here, an engine capable of making 62 miles an hour from rest in 8.8 seconds, yet still returning 68.9 miles per gallon on the combined cycle and 108 grams per kilometre of CO2. Now, if you want this frugality with a bit more pace, then a 190 PS version of this engine is also available. And both these 2-litre TDI variants are offered with the extra cost option of 4-wheel drive. Those Superb buyers in search of petrol power have the choice of a couple of 1.4-litre TSI derivatives at the foot of the range. These develop either 125 or 150 PS, with the more powerful unit featuring clever ACT technology for more efficient returns. At the top of the lineup lie a couple of 2-litre TSI derivatives that come only with the DSG Auto gearbox that's optional on other models. There's a 220 PS 2-wheel drive version and a flagship 280 PS 4-wheel drive model. This third-generation Superb is a larger car than its predecessor, but that isn't the perspective that you get from first glance. Somehow here, this Skoda looks more compact and agile than its predecessor, and the previous model's boxy, forgettable shape has developed into a stylish silhouette that chief designer Joseph Caban and his team evolved from their dynamic Vision C concept car. Clean-cut lines, smoothly shaped surfaces and sharp edges have all been integrated to create one of the most striking and elegant designs in the sector. It's really quite a turnaround. From a side perspective, you appreciate the flowing shape of the extended roofline and the extra length of this design. It's 28mm longer in this hatch guise and 23mm longer if, like the majority of buyers, you choose the estate body style. Time to take a seat behind the wheel, pausing as you enter to admire a classic Superb touch, an umbrella that sits in its own waterproof compartment. Providing you avoid entry-level trim, it's a standard feature, and this time around you'll find it in each front door. As the door closes with a reassuring thunk and you take a seat inside, you find yourself in a cabin that's simpler, cleaner and classier than before. Now, this might not be quite a Mercedes S-Class for the masses, but it's still very nicely finished indeed. Like all the latest Volkswagen Group products, this Superb's centre console is dominated by a colour infotainment touchscreen. This one either 5 inches, 6.5 inches, or as here, 8 inches in size, depending on the trim level or the options you select. Either way, it's a clear and intuitive portal through which you access the usual stereo, phone and informational functions, plus of course the optional sat-nav system. Most models get this screen with Smart Link functionality, which enables access to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto technology that'll replicate all of your smartphone functions into the system. So use of your preferred apps and your favourite forms of social media will be no problem. Time to take a seat in the rear, where you start to fully appreciate the benefit of this third generation model's 18mm increase in wheelbase. The designers could have used this to further increase legroom, but there wasn't really any point, given that in offering 157mm of space to stretch out, the previous model was already easily class leading in this respect. As what has changed, well, elbow room has been improved, so it's now easier to comfortably transport 3 adults over long distances than it would be in any other car in this sector. And out back, get your stuff over the rather pronounced boot lip and you'll find that the 625-litre space on offer is 39 litres bigger than you get from a Volkswagen Passat, 84 litres bigger than a Ford Mondeo, and a huge 95 litres bigger than a Vauxhall Insignia. Unfortunately, the cargo floor isn't completely flat, but it can be if you choose the estate model and select the optional variable height boot floor. In that estate model, there's a 660-litre boot that can be extended to 1,950 litres on demand. At last, this Skoda Superb looks the part, making it easier than it's ever been to convince those whose automotive perspective is at least a decade out of date that a Skoda deserves a place on your shortlist if you're in the market for a Mondeo segment medium ranger. It's a car that can do more than simply courteously court more mature buyers with a comfortably spacious, laid-back demeanour. Depending on the variant you choose, it can now offer Golf GTI performance, Super Mini style economy, or leather-lined luxury. It can drive itself in traffic, park itself, and connect you to the internet. And as an ownership proposition, it's full of little practical touches that make life just a tiny bit easier. This then is a far more convincing flagship for Skoda's increasingly impressive model lineup, offering real luxury in an everyday package that, as I've been suggesting, is a huge step forward for loyal, superb buyers. If to date you've not been one of them, then we'd understand why. We'd also suggest, though, that it's time to look at this car with fresh perspective. If you're buying in this segment, we think it's one you have to try.